Welcome, Stache. Another episode of Stache Sports. Yesterday, the Steelers' schedule came out. I think with the schedule, I think we might have 9 or 10 wins this season, or maybe 11. But that's under the pressure that Aaron Rodgers comes back. Even though A-Rod is still taking his sweet old time to decide if he still wants to play football, which is really hurting the team, to be quite honest. I mean, it's really hurting the team because he needs to start practicing with these receivers. Yes, I do realize Aaron Rodgers is a vet, and we do have DK Metcalf, but we have 2 new receivers that he needs to get accustomed to. I know we still have a lot of offseason left, so he needs to sign soon before mandatory OTAs that start next month. I mean, I know if he doesn't want to do all these offseason workouts and stuff, it's okay because he's a future ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's been in the league for 19 years. And we did hire Mike McCarthy, but he used to have all that success in the Packers, with the Green Bay Packers, when Mike McCarthy coached there. And he knows Mike McCarthy's system. So, I mean, you don't have to be here right now. But I guess it does give you other quarterback some time to shine. Because if Aaron Rodgers is here, unless if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt or really sucks, even if he really sucks this year, I don't know if Mike McCarthy has the balls to bench him, but whatever. But so that's not going to really help us know where our future is. Which sometimes I wonder. The last couple of days, I'm kind of thinking maybe I don't want Aaron Rodgers back, even though if he does come back, I'm going to be rooting for him because I'm a diehard Steelers fan, so I'll be rooting for whoever the quarterback is, hoping they win and not stink and try to get a higher pick like the Dolphins do or the Jets do every year. But I don't know what to expect. I mean, if he does come back, I think he'll be good because we do have a lot better receivers that are taller than 5'9", Calvin Austin. No offense, Calvin Austin just didn't really pan out well or do much for the Steelers in this time. I mean, he wasn't awful, per se, but he just didn't pan out like they were trying to make him like Tyreek Hill. He just didn't pan out here. And it led to a lot of people double covering and triple covering DK Metcalf because they really knew, because the other defenses knew that DK Metcalf was our best receiver last year. I mean, I know we did have Pat Freiermuth and Mount Washington that helped, but now we finally have 2 receivers, and Jeremy Bernard that's 6 feet tall, and Michael Pittman Jr. that we traded from the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll give him a 5th-round pick or something. So we didn't give up that much. And I think with Michael Pittman Jr. and Bernard, I think that's going to help a lot now. Because then the defense is going to have a lot more players, a lot more better receivers to try to focus on. And not only focus on DK Metcalf, and it's going to get DK Metcalf open more. And also have Michael Pittman Jr. to get open more. And Jeremiah Bernard that we got from Alabama in the 2nd round of the draft when Stache was there to experience the draft in Pittsburgh. But my Stachers, I think we'll have better receivers this year if they all stay healthy. I mean, I know we still have Roman Wilson, so it's going to be interesting to see what Roman Wilson does. If Roman Wilson stays on the team or if Roman Wilson's out of town after the thing. Because we did get another receiver from the draft, but definitely that guy from Iowa is going to be more of a special teams player. I mean, he might play some receiver too, or maybe Eli Heidenreich might play some receiver too. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers do. They might sign someone else to go pair with them. But I think Jeremiah Bernard, I think he's going to slot into our third receiver and our slot receiver, and then Metcalf and Pittman will be on either side of Aaron Rodgers, wherever the quarterback is. I mean, sometimes I kind of want to see what Drew Howard, William Howard have, because like all these experts are saying, next year's draft class is a lot better. So if they're not good and we do stink, at least we know that we're going to need a quarterback. Or maybe they think they can, Mike McCarthy, who's good at quarterback, and build one of these Drew Howard, William Howard to be our future quarterback. I mean, I don't know. It's a new era in Pittsburgh, and we have a new coach. Even though Tom was a good coach, we have a new coach. It's going to be interesting to see what Mike McCarthy does. Because in Mike Tomlin's career here, he always, even if we had bad quarterbacks or Roethlisberger got hurt or whatever, he always seemed to have us a 500 above and making the playoffs, even though we've had a drought the last few years and have yet to win a playoff game and lost our playoff game last and got spanked by the Texans. Mike Tomlin always seemed to have us a 500 better, no matter who the quarterback was, and no matter what all these experts are saying that the Steelers would be bad those years. But for some reason, the Steelers always seem to be above 500. But now we have a new coaching staff, a new coach, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Because even if we're betting, we would always bet that the Steelers have a 500 season under Tomlin, because he had like 17 of them or whatever, had the most non-losing seasons, even if we didn't win a playoff game. I mean, that's a good accomplishment too. I mean, that's what his bugaboo was not winning a playoff game. But it's hard to win the playoffs sometimes, but that's another story for another day. So that's what I don't know what to expect this year. And if Aaron Rodgers comes back, which everybody thinks he will, the other thing is hard to guess is how many wins he'll have. I mean, he's going to be 43 years old, so is he still going to be good, or is Father Time going to catch up to him? Because we all know if you're old enough and you're good, even if you're old enough and good enough, Father Time finally catches up to you at some point in your career. The Steelers preseason, they opened up against the Packers, and they play in Pittsburgh. Then they play the Jets, and then they play the Bills. Those are the 3 preseason games, so those should be interesting. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be playing at all in the preseason, unless if they want to see what Aaron Rodgers can do in the preseason, he'll get a couple snaps. But I think that's going to be more for Drew Auer, Mason Rudolph, if he's still here, and William Howard. Week 1, the Steelers open up at Acrisure Stadium because the Pittsburgh Pirates don't have a game that week and they're out of town on September 13th. The Pirates are out of town. I was reading the Patriots game. But the Pirates are out of town, so the Pittsburgh Steelers opened up against the Atlanta Falcons. I think they should get a win against the Atlanta Falcons no matter who the quarterback is, because they're going to have 2 against them or Michael Penix, and I think our defense will be strong enough to beat the Falcons, and whoever the quarterback is will be able to vote him enough wins, and Aaron Rodgers beats the quarterback. Whoever the quarterback is will be able to vote him enough wins, so I think that's a win there. Then they go off to Foxborough to play the Patriots. That's going to be tough, because the Patriots did make it to the Super Bowl last year and lost to the Seahawks, so that's going to be a tough game, even if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. I mean, the Patriots are a tough team, so that's going to be a tough one, and that's in Foxborough week 2. That's our first road game, so I don't know right now. If Aaron Rodgers is here, that might be a win, or that might be a loss. I don't know, but that's going to be a tough game. I was watching the Steelers special last night after my parents went to bed, and they said that the Steelers have a toughest schedule in the AFC North right now, above the Baltimore Ravens, or Baltimore Raptors, like I like to call them. In week 3, September 27th, after they play the Patriots at Gillette Stadium, they come back home and play the first divisional game, the Cincinnati Bengals. That's going to be tough, because Joe Burrow is always a tough game, and the Bengals are tough. I mean, I know the Bengals' defense isn't as strong as other teams in our division, but that's going to be a tough game. I think the Steelers win that game now. And then they play at the Cleveland Browns on Thursday Night Football. I think they go back-to-back division wins and beat the Cleveland Browns on Thursday, October 1st. That's my brother's birthday, but they play in Cleveland. They always seem, for the last few years, always seem to have a Thursday Night Football game on Prime Video against the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what it is, why they always have to play the Cleveland Browns on Prime Video, but that's just an interesting thing. Then on Sunday, October 11th, they come back home, and that's good to have a mini bye week after that, but just rest up. And then they play the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are going to be something interesting this year. It's going to be interesting to see if Daniel Jones plays this year, because Daniel Jones did go out with a bad knee injury last year. I think a torn Achilles or whatever it was. So if he's back, it might be a tough one, but I think the Steelers can beat the Colts. So I think that's another one. The Buccaneers are going to be tough in Tampa Bay, because Baker Mayfield's a really tough out, but I think that could be a win too. If the Steelers aren't 6-2 like they said last night, and before the bye week, that might be a tough act, because after the bye week, it comes a lot harder. But you never know how some of these teams are going to do. Because right now on paper, that's what they think. After the bye week, it's a lot harder. I mean, before the bye week, it's kind of hard too. But a lot of people think after the bye week, it's a lot harder for the Steelers. After the Tampa Bay game at Raymond James Stadium, which I think will win, they go off to Paris, France. I think the Steelers get the first win in Paris, France. I think they beat the Saints. I don't think the Saints are going to be good this year. I know they say the reason they play the Steelers and not the Packers is because they think they're an up-and-coming team, which I think is a bunch of malarkey. And I think the Saints are living in la-la land. And I don't think the Saints will be good, so I think the Steelers beat the Saints. And then the Steelers on November 1st play the Cleveland Browns. I think they beat the Browns and sweep the Browns and go into the bye week. So I think they might be 6-2 going into the bye week. Maybe they lose to the Patriots, and maybe they split with the Bengals or something, or the Bucks. I think they can beat the Browns. I think they beat the Falcons. So maybe they're 6-2 going into the bye week. And after the bye week, I think they play the Bengals. If they lose to the Bengals before the bye week, I think this is where they split in Pittsburgh with the Bengals. And then they play the Philadelphia Eagles. Last night in the Nightly Sports Call, they said they haven't won in Philadelphia in like 60 years. I think they finally win in Philadelphia. I mean, I really hope they do, because Pittsburgh is a lot better of a city than that crap hole city of Philadelphia, which the Flyers are coming into town tonight. I hope the Pirates will beat the Flyers, but we'll get into that later in the video. And then after that, they have a Black Friday game, which is interesting. The Steelers have not played a Friday game for a long time, and they played Denver Broncos. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Denver Broncos do. That's on Prime Video too. I mean, they count that as a home game, a primetime game, because it's only a game on Black Friday, even though it's at 3 p.m. on Saturday, Friday, which I guess I won't be shopping, LOL, even though I wouldn't be shopping on Black Friday anyway. Oh. They go to play the Broncos. That might be tough. But I think they beat the Saints in France. Oui. That's the only French word I know. But let's go back. I think the Broncos, that might be a tough game, but I think they might beat the Broncos in Pittsburgh on Black Friday. And then they play the Houston Texans in Pittsburgh on Monday Night Football, which is interesting. For those who don't know, Mike Tomlin is now on the Monday Night Football crew. Or Sunday Night Football crew, excuse me. They play Sunday Night Football. Mike Tomlin's on the Sunday Night Football crew. They play the Jaguars Monday Night Football. But Mike Tomlin, who used to be the coach on the Sunday Night Football crew, and the Steelers had the first playoff game in quite a while at home, and they played the Houston Texans last year and got beat by the Houston Texans. So it's interesting that they scheduled that game for Sunday Night Football, because this year the Sunday Night Football crew, unlike years past where they stayed in the studio, will be traveling to wherever game they play. So that's going to be interesting to see Mike Tomlin back in Pittsburgh for the first time since retiring this year as football coach. Now we have Mike McCarthy. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mike McCarthy can do as a Steelers football coach. And then they go off to Duval on Monday Night Football, December 14th, one day before my birthday, to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they beat the Jaguars on my birthday, but we'll get into that later. The Baltimore Ravens, they might split with the Baltimore Ravens, and then they play the Baltimore Ravens Sunday, December 20th. Last night, one of the guys called in, that's always called in, and they say why did they put the Steelers in there? And Palm said they'd like to put the Ravens in there because they think the Ravens might be tough. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, we have a 43-year-old quarterback, so I wonder if he's still going to be hopefully he's still playing by then, but also Lamar Jackson has injury problems too, so we'll see about that. And then they play the Carolina Panthers. Hopefully they beat the Carolina Panthers. I mean, I don't know how good the Carolina Panthers are going to be, but hopefully they can beat the Carolina Panthers and then the Tennessee Titans. And then the final game of the season, yet again, is against the Baltimore Ravens. And we know last year, the Baltimore Ravens and Steelers were for the division, and Tyler Loop missed that field goal for the Baltimore Ratbirds. But we'll see. So my final prediction is 10-win season. I think they have a 10-win season this year if we have Aaron Rodgers, or 9 wins if we have Aaron Rodgers. Maybe 9-8 or 10-6 or whatever that would be. I know my math's not good because I'm not a mathematician, but you can do the math. Whatever 10 wins out of a 17-game season is. But I think they have 10 or 9 wins. I think they get above 500, unlike McCarthy. Some people think they might be worse, like 7 wins. I don't know. I mean, it might be good if they do bad this year because then they can get a quarterback for the future. But we'll see. I just think of Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back, I think he can get us to 9 or 10 wins of the season with elite defense play if our defense stays healthy. This is all about everybody staying healthy with Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers does come back, maybe my tone changes a little bit. But right now, we're all only obsessed that Aaron Rodgers comes back because I think they have 10 wins this season. I think they split with the Ravens. I think they beat the Titans and the Panthers. I think they beat the Jaguars. I think they beat the Texans, beat the Broncos, beat the Eagles, split with the Bengals maybe, sweep the Browns, definitely beat the Saints, maybe lose to the Buccaneers. But we'll see. Maybe the Patriots, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting year. I know they have a lot tougher schedule because they won the division last year, but it's going to be an interesting year to see what the Steelers do come this year. So I think they have 10 wins, or 9 wins this season. That's my prediction for the Steelers. Now we're going to go over the rest of the 32 teams. So I think the Steelers have 10 wins. It's interesting. For some reason, this is the first time ever in NFL history that the opening game of the season will be Wednesday, September 9th. They've never had a game on Wednesday, I don't think, unless it was a COVID year or something weird like that. But there's going to be a game on Wednesday. The Seahawks open up against the Patriots. I think the Seahawks win in the Super Bowl rematch against the Patriots. I think Sam Darnold has a good night that night. And then the Thursday game on September 10th is against the St. Louis Rams, or Los Angeles Rams, and San Francisco 49ers in Melbourne, Australia. The Dingo ate your baby. In Melbourne, Australia. Good day, mate. Oi, oi, oi. I think the Los Angeles Rams win that game. I think the Steelers beat the Falcons. I think the Buccaneers beat the Bengals that game in Cincinnati. I think the Lions beat the Saints. The Jets and Titans, that's a toss-up. Both of those teams, I don't know how good they'll be this year, but I think the Titans win that game. I think the Ravens beat the Colts, but I don't want that to happen. I think the Bears beat the Panthers. The Jaguars against the Browns. Who knows who's going to be the Browns quarterback? Is it going to be Deshaun Watson, who likes to get happy endings at massage parlors? Is it going to be Shedeur Sanders, who dad thinks he's the next Tom Brady, even though he's not? Or is it going to be the quarterback from UCF, bad transfer? I don't know. Or the new quarterback they drafted this year. But I think the Jaguars get a win in week 1 against the Cleveland Clowns. You heard it here first. For all my Jaguar friends, I think it win week 1. I think the Buffalo Bills beat the Texans in Houston. The Dolphins and Raiders. If Mendoza is starting, or Kirk Cousins, I think the Raiders beat the Dolphins. I think the Packers beat the Vikings. I think the Commanders beat the Eagles. Whatever. I think the Chargers beat the Cardinals. I might switch this around. And the Giants play the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. The Chargers are and the Chiefs, or the Cowboys and Giants are the first Monday Night Football game. Maybe the Giants win. I don't know. I'll get more picks later on. And then the Thursday night game is the Broncos and Chiefs. That's going to be a good game. It's going to be interesting to see how good the Broncos are this year. The Broncos are pretty good last year. I think that's going to be interesting, but I think the Chiefs might win that game. Week 2 is Thursday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills opened up their stadium against Detroit. Maybe they win that game. I think the Buffalo Bills have a good year. The Buffalo Bills always seem to have a good year. I think the Buffalo Bills will win the AFC East this year. I think the Steelers beat the Patriots. Then the Falcons play the Panthers. That's going to be an interesting game. I'm not going to do picks anymore. The Bears play the Vikings. The Eagles play the Titans. I think the Eagles should win that game. The Packers play the Jets. Jeez, the Jets have a tough schedule. The Buccaneers play the Browns. Wait, how do... Oh, the Jaguars play the Buccaneers play the Browns, and maybe the Browns might just stay in Florida. The Ravens play the Saints. The Bengals play the Texans. That might be a tough one. The Jaguars go over the Broncos and play them. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one. Maybe the Broncos win, or maybe the Jaguars win. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to that. I think the Chargers and the Raiders play week 2. I think the Chargers win that one. The Commanders and Cowboys play. That's going to be a good game. The Cardinals and Seahawks play. The Dolphins play the 49ers. That's going to be another loss to the Dolphins. The Chiefs and the Colts play Sunday Night Football. That's going to be a decent game. And the Giants get two primetime games back-to-back. Wow, that's interesting. The Giants get 2 primetime games back-to-back. But they play the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams win, though. But we'll see. I might change this when it comes up and I do my NFL picks weekly on my weekly podcast. Week 3, the Thursday Night Football game on Prime is the Packers and Saints. Falcons. Steelers play the Bengals, like I said. The Bills play the Chargers. The Panthers play the Lions. The Panthers play the Browns, excuse me. The Jets play the Lions. The Colts play the Texans. The Dolphins play the Chiefs. Jeez. The Dolphins have a really tough schedule coming out with a quarterback that I'm not really sold on. I'm not really sold on Malik Willis. Malik Willis only had a few good games, so I'm not really sold on Malik Willis. But they have a really tough schedule coming out playing the Raiders, so that might be interesting. But the Dolphins, Raiders, Titans, Cardinals, Jets. I think I might be missing one. But the Cardinals, Dolphins, Raiders, Jets, and Titans are the only teams that don't have primetime games right now. And yes, I know those can change because near the end of the season they like to flex games in, and some of these teams are bad, some teams are better to try to get better ratings. But right now, those teams don't have games, which I don't blame them. Who wants to watch those teams anyway? They're probably going to be pretty bad this year anyway in prime time. So who wants to watch those teams in prime time? I don't care about the Titans. I think the Jaguars have another good year. They play the Patriots. That might be tough, but I think they might win that game too. I think the Jaguars have 10 wins or 11 wins this year. I think the 49ers or Cardinals. The 49ers will be good. The Buccaneers, I think, will be good too. They're going to have an interesting year. They don't have Mike Evans this year, but I think the Buccaneers will be doing good. That division, I think, is going to be crappy. I don't know about the Falcons. Maybe the Panthers might give them a run for the money, but I don't know about the Falcons or Saints. So I think the Buccaneers have a good year. I think the Bills win that division and have 13 wins or more. 13 wins or more for the Bills. I think the Buccaneers have more than 11 wins this year. I think the Ravens might be tough, but it's going to be interesting. They play the Cowboys. The Cowboys might be good too. The Saints and Raiders and Broncos are Thursday night football. The Steelers play the Browns Thursday night. And then we got the Commanders in London, England. Oh, bloody hell. And then the Patriots play the Bills. That's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots and Bills do. So I think the Patriots and Bills will be the top two teams in the AFC West. But the Patriots are going to give them a run for the money. I don't see the Dolphins giving them a run for the money. I don't think the Dolphins or Jets will be good this year. But I could be wrong. I think they're the top two teams. The Bears play the Jets. The Jaguars probably beat the Bengals. The Cardinals will play the Giants. The Rams play the Eagles. The Buccaneers play the Packers. This is week 4 right now. The Titans play the Ravens. The Texans play the Cowboys. The Dolphins play the Vikings. Ooh, that's even tougher. Who knows who's going to be the quarterback for the Vikings? Is it going to be Kyler Murray? Or are they going to go for the guy from Michigan that I can't remember his name right now? That was there last year. I mean, I know he didn't look so good, so that's why they got Kyler Murray. Maybe Kyler Murray would be good. I mean, Kyler Murray had an off season last year, but hasn't really looked good for the Cardinals after getting injured. It's injury prone. But we'll see who's going to be the quarterback for them. The Raiders play the Chiefs. That's going to be a tough game. The 49ers play the Broncos. That's going to be a good game. The Seahawks play the Chargers. That'll be a good game. The Lions and Panthers are that primetime week 4 on Sunday Night Football. And Monday Night Football, we got the Saints and Falcons. Week 5. The Buccaneers play Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. That'd be a good game. The Steelers play the Colts. The Jaguars are back in London playing the Eagles. Good day, mate. Oh, bloody hell. The Texans play the Titans. The Bengals play the Dolphins. The Patriots play the Raiders. The Saints play the Vikings. The Jets play the Browns. The Giants play the Commanders. The Dolphins play the Chargers. The Packers play the Bears. The Lions play the Cardinals. The Seahawks play the 49ers. The Ravens play the Falcons on the primetime games. Week 6, we open up with the Broncos and Seahawks. Then the Steelers play the Buccaneers that week. Then the Jaguars play in London again. Atlanta, Georgia, the Falcons and Bears. Browns and Ravens play that week. Colts and Titans play that week. Patriots and Jets play that week. Giants and Saints play that week. Eagles play that week against the Panthers. Cardinals play the Rams. Chiefs play the Chargers. Bills play the Raiders. Packers and Cowboys are that night primetime game, and Commanders and 49ers are that game. We got the Patriots and Bears on week 7 for Thursday Night Football. The Steelers playing Paris. That week 9. We're on week 9 already. Or week 7, excuse me. Jumping ahead. The Falcons play the 49ers. The Titans play the Browns. The Colts play the Vikings. The Dolphins play the Jets. The Buccaneers play the Panthers. The Bengals and the Ravens. Texans and Giants. Cardinals and Broncos. And Lions. Interesting schedule this year. Eagles play the Cowboys, and Seahawks play the Chiefs. Interesting games. It's going to be interesting to see if a lot of these games get flexed out later on this season, but you never know because you never know how good these teams are going to be. The Packers play the 49ers on Prime Video in Week 8. The Steelers play the Dolphins. Browns, I mean. The Bills play the Ravens. That's going to be lots of the Ravens, thank God. The Bengals play the Titans. The Cowboys play the Cardinals. The Lions play the Vikings. The Raiders play the Jets. The Buccaneers play the Falcons. The Jaguars and Colts play in Jacksonville. I mean, they don't have any home games this year because they played a couple games in London, which is upsetting for some of the Jaguar fans to have to pay all that hard money in Jacksonville to go to the games. But the Rams play the Chargers. The Broncos play the Chiefs. The Dolphins play the Patriots. That's going to be a tough one. The Eagles play on Monday Night Football against the Commanders, and the Bears and Seahawks play on Monday Night Football. Bye week teams that week are the Saints, Giants, 49ers, and Texans. Week 9, the Steelers bye week. The Jaguars and Ravens play on Monday Night Prime Video. Madrid, Spain. The Falcons play the Bengals. That's another game. And then Colts play the Cowboys. Chiefs play the Jets. Dolphins play the Lions. Saints play the Browns. Eagles play the Giants. Commanders play the Rams. Panthers play the Broncos. Texans play the Chargers. 49ers play the Raiders. Packers play the Patriots. Seahawks play the Cardinals. Buccaneers on primetime video on Sunday night against the Bears. That might be a good game. And the Bills play the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Hopefully we have a lot of Eli Manning cast because they're the best cast ever. Eli and Peyton Manning. Hopefully we have a lot of them this year. On Thursday Night Football in Week 10, the Giants play. The Steelers play the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. The Patriots play in Munich, Germany. 9? They play the Lions. That might be a good game for Germany. The Falcons play the Chiefs. The Texans play the Browns. The Packers play the Vikings. The Jaguars play the Titans. That's going to be a good one for the Jaguars. The Dolphins play the Colts. The Saints play the Panthers. The Bills play the Jets. The Seahawks play the 49 Raiders. The Rams play the Cardinals. The 49ers play the Cowboys. That week is the Chargers and 49ers on Monday Night Football. And the Steelers and Bengals on Sunday Night Football. Week 11 starts off on Prime Video for Colts and Texans. That might be an interesting game. The Steelers play the Eagles. The Bills play the Dolphins. That's going to be lots of the Dolphins. We know the Bills are going to sweep the Dolphins this year. The Bears play the Saints. The Cowboys play the Titans. The Buccaneers play the Lions. That's going to be a good game. The Cardinals play the Chiefs. The Jaguars play the Giants. The Jaguars will win that game. The Ravens play the Panthers. The Jets play the Chargers. The Raiders play the Broncos. And Sunday Night Football is the Vikings and Bears. Wait, never mind. Excuse me. The Vikings and 49ers. Primetime football. And Bengals and Commanders on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs play the Rams on Sunday Night Football on Week 13. The Texans play the Steelers that week on Monday Night Football. Sunday Night Football. The Lions play the Falcons. Damn it. The Lions play the Falcons that week. The Jaguars play the Bears in Chicago. The Bengals play the Browns. The Commanders play the Titans. The Packers play the Saints. The 49ers play the Giants. The Chargers play the Buccaneers. The Dolphins play the Broncos. The Eagles play the Cardinals. The Panthers play the Vikings. The Bills play the Patriots. That's going to be a tough one. The Packers play the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. The Cowboys, Excuse me, I can't read. In Week 14, the Patriots play the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. The Falcons play the Browns. The Titans play the Lions. The Bears play the Dolphins. The Broncos play the Jets. The Colts play the Eagles. The Texans play the Commanders. The Saints play the Panthers. The Buccaneers play the Ravens. Hopefully the Buccaneers can win that game. The Chargers play the Raiders. The Chiefs play the Bengals. The 49ers play the Rams. The Seahawks play the Giants. And then on Sunday Night Football, the Packers play the Bears. And the Steelers play the Jaguars on Monday Night Football that week. Which should be two good primetime games. I think the Steelers will beat the Jaguars, though, but I think the Jaguars have a good season. Don't at me. I think the Jaguars are in the AFC South yet again. Maybe the Texans might show up this year because the Texans were pretty good last year, but I don't know how good the Colts or Titans will be. So I think the Jaguars can win that division yet again with ease, or with a little toughness with the Texans. But I think the Jaguars will have more than 11 or more than 12 wins this year. I think the Steelers have 10 or 9 wins or more this year. I don't know how the Steelers will be bad, but we'll see. On Thursday Night Football in Week 15, the Chargers played the 49ers. The Seahawks played the Eagles. And the Bears played... On Thursday, December 17th, the Chargers play the 49ers. Saturday Night Football, the 19th, the Seahawks play the Eagles. The Bears play the Bills. That should be a good game. The Steelers play the Ravens that week. That should be a good game. The Lions play the Packers. The Colts play the Titans. The Giants play the Browns. The Texans play the Buccaneers. The Falcons and Commanders play. The Bengals play the Bengals play the Panthers. The Jaguars play the Texans. The Jets play the Cardinals. The Broncos play the Raiders. The Cowboys play the Rams. The Lions play the Vikings. The Patriots play the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. And that should be a good game. We only have a couple more weeks left. The Eagles played on Prime Video on Thursday, December 24th. And then we got the Bears and Packers, Broncos and Bills. That should be a good game. Seahawks and Lions, or Seahawks and Rams. Steelers and Panthers. Buccaneers and Falcons. Bengals and Colts. Commanders and Vikings. Chargers and Dolphins. Cardinals and Saints. Patriots and Jets. Ravens and Raptors. Titans and Raiders. 49ers and Chiefs. Jaguars and the Cowboys. Ooh, that should be a good game. That's Sunday Night Football. And the Lions play the Giants. The Buccaneers play the Bengals play the Ravens. The Steelers play the Titans. The Broncos play the Patriots. The Chiefs play the Chargers. The Buccaneers play the Rams. The Jaguars play the Commanders. The Falcons play the Saints. The Colts play the Browns. The Giants play the Cowboys. The Bills play the Dolphins. The Jets play the Vikings. The Seahawks play the Panthers. The Raiders play the Cardinals. The Lions play the Bears. Eagles play the 49ers on Sunday Night Football, and the Texans play the Packers. Finally, the Steelers play the Ravens. The Jets play the Bills. The Bengals play the Browns. The Chargers play the Broncos. The Lions play the Packers. Jaguars and Colts. Raiders and Chiefs. Seahawks and Rams. Bears and Vikings. Dolphins and Patriots. Buccaneers and Saints. Eagles and Giants. 49ers and Cardinals. Cowboys and Commanders. Falcons and Panthers. Titans and Houston. Those are the games. I think the Steelers have a good win. Like I said, I think they get either 10 or more wins, maybe 9 at the least. I don't know how bad it'll be, but this is the exception of Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jaguars have a good win. I think they'll win the South. I think the Bills will win the AFC East. I think either the Broncos or Chiefs will win the AFC West. I think the Steelers or Ravens will win the AFC North. NFC North, I think the Packers or Bears can win that one, and maybe the Lions, depending on how good the Lions are. That could be a 3-team race. I think the Bengals, Buccaneers, or Falcons. I think the Buccaneers or Panthers could win the AFC South. I think, or whatever. Yeah. I think NFC East. I think either the Giants. I think the Cowboys or Eagles win that one. Maybe the Giants come up. Maybe the Commanders. I mean, if unlike last year, if Jalen Daniels stays healthy, I think that could be a 3-team race between the Cowboys, Giants, or maybe all the teams, and the Eagles. I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe the Eagles or Giants. Maybe the Eagles, Cowboys, or Giants. I think the Giants have a lot better year than people are expecting. And maybe the Commanders too. I don't know about the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys always seem to have a good year, and I think the Eagles have a good year too. Even though I don't want the Eagles to have a good year, so I don't like the Eagles. I think, I think that either the Rams or Seahawks, or maybe 49ers will win that division. I don't think the Cardinals have a good year this year with new management, with Jacoby Brissett as quarterback, but I could be definitely wrong. But But I think that's a 3-team race. I mean, it's going to be an interesting year. I'm excited about the football world is back. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think the Steelers are going to have a win. I think the Jaguars have a good year again. I don't think it's just a one-off like they have in years past. I think the Jacksonville Duval will have a good year for them. Last night, the Vegas Golden Knights won 5-1. Moving on, they'll play the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Finals to see who plays in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's going to be tough. The Colorado Avalanche are looking pretty good. I think the Colorado Avalanche are going to win that series, but it might go the distance. Last night, the Montreal Canadiens won 6-3 against the Buffalo Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres are having a day off and looking tomorrow, I think, or whenever it is, to even up that series to 7 games apiece and go back to Buffalo. I mean, Carolina Hurricanes have had a whole week off, but we'll see. I think the Buffalo Sabres even that series up, but we'll get into that later. The Pirates are looking pretty good. They won last night. I hope they continue to win tonight because they played a much-hated rival, the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies suck anyway. It's 6-4 tonight. I think the Pirates win tonight. Braxton Ashcraft is going tonight. I think Braxton Ashcraft has a great night. Ashcraft is looking really good. He's one of these up-and-coming Pirate pitchers, and I think Ashcraft has yet another good game against the Phillies. I think the Pirates do good. I think Brandon Lau has a good hit. Connor Griffin has done a lot better since he's 20. I think he gets a lot hit, and I think he's been able to move to hoist a cone. I love how they hoist a cone and have a wellness max. It's been a lot better. And even had a bubble gum last night, Bubba Chandler's head. And one of the pitchers said, and Paul Skeens was on the Pat McAfee show today and talking a lot better. I can't believe that he's already had 6 wins. Last year when he got 6 wins was in early July. And he's already had 6 wins because we finally have base hitters. We finally have Brandon Lau that's doing a lot better. Ryan O'Hearn and O'Neal Cruz is having yet a good year. I'm glad to see the Pirates are doing good, and I think the Pirates win tonight and take game 1 against the Philadelphia Flyers. I think the Blue Jays beat the Tigers. I think the Indians beat the Reds. Guardians. The Indianapolis Indians are still the Indians. I don't know why the Cleveland Indians can't be called the Indians still. I think the Battle of the Sunshine State. I think the Marlins take game 1. I think the Braves beat the Red Sox. I think the Yankees beat the Mets. I think the Cubs beat the White Sox in the Battle of Chicago. I think the Rangers beat the Texans in the Battle of Texas. I think the Dodgers beat the Angels in the Battle of LA. I think the Orioles beat the Washington Nationals. I think the Brewers beat the Twins. I think the Orioles beat the Cardinals. I think the Diamondbacks beat the Rockies. I think the Mariners beat the Padres. And I think the Athletics beat the Giants. Tonight we have some games that could end tonight. Did the Spurs move on, or did the Minnesota Timberwolves make it a game 7? Or did the Detroit Pistons make it a game 7 against the against the Cowboys? I think the Detroit Pistons hold on and lead tonight, and I think the Detroit Pistons force a game 7. You're already here on Stache Sports, you Stashers. And I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think they force a game 7 too. But it's going to be interesting because the Spurs and Timberwolves series has been really odd. Either Spurs win by a lot or the Timberwolves win by a lot. But I think the Timberwolves win tonight. But you heard it here first. I think the Jaguars have a good year. I think the Steelers have a good year. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the Steelers. Because we still think Aaron Rodgers is going to sign. But you never know about Looney Tooney Cat. He might not and change his mind. But we'll see. But thank you for watching another episode of Stache Sports. Tomorrow I think the Sabres play at force game 7. I think the Pistons and I think the Timberwolves force game 7s tonight. But thank you for watching another episode of Stache Sports.